Right, today we start a new volume, SD 3A. Okay. Now once you see A, that means there is a B, sometimes a C. Sometimes we might even have 4 in one set because the volume keep growing. Lots of things to talk about, new teachings. So this is part 1, then part 2 is 3B. And this is everything about refuge going. So a lot of teachings on refuge. This volume was first started in 2003. Okay. Now this series, you can see the very topmost line. It says the living word of the Buddha. You know why it's called living word? Because this is not a commercial translation. What's available mostly out there are commercial translation because they're printed and they're sold, and with a very big profit, by the way. And the book is fixed, a certain number of pages and so on. So very often the suttas get shortened. Now here in this translation, we can use as much space, as much paper as we like, no limit. We should not limit the Dhamma. So, anytime there is something new, something wonderful, some new teaching, a clearer understanding, because we are all not enlightened, you see. We don't understand all the teachings completely. So, the more we understand it, the more we include in here, write it nicely to preserve it for future generations. Sometimes you know something very beautiful, but you can forget it. So sometimes when I read all the suttas, I say, wow, this is beautiful. Where did this come from? And then I realize I wrote it myself. So it's the Buddha's gift. You find, even in my Facebook, I get 1,500 over people. They say, oh, thank you, Piya. I say, please don't thank me. It's the Buddha. This is the Buddha's work. I'm just like newspaper man like that. Just come and show you and rejoice it, enjoy it with you. Okay. So this idea of refuge is very important. So this is chapter 1. You can see on page 1, the one true refuge. Now we all know there are 3 refuges, right? Now I'm giving you a kind of summary here of the 3 refuges. There are lots of things you can read on your own. Especially if you can't sleep at night, use this book and read it. I'm serious. And when you fall asleep, you sleep happily. Okay? So read it, put this book beside your bedside. Take it home. All right?
Can you lie down and read?
Of course. You can. It's very hard to sleep if you stand up and read. You lie down and read. Yeah? Oh, yeah. Some people don't like lying down to read. So it's up to you. If you feel that lying down is not comfortable, you can sit up, sit in a chair somewhere, and then you feel sleepy, put down the book, go to sleep. All right? Sleep happily. Think of in fact, you don't think anymore. After this, you feel, you're joyful. Joyful is a feeling. Why is feeling important? Feeling is direct experience. No thoughts involved. Thoughts means one of the senses is involved. The senses is the middleman. So this one is you buy your goods directly, cheaper, better. So you go to the sutta directly. Okay? So the living word means all these suttas get updated every now and then. So now you can see the front cover, it says 2003 is the first edition, second edition 2008, that's 5 years later. And 2009 is third edition, fourth edition 2017. And we are studying the 5th edition. Okay? And every time you have a new edition, you've got to submit to the National Library also, the Li Gongqian floor. So you go there, you can see quite a lot of our sutta discovery there. So this is where our sutta books are being preserved by the sort of National Archives, if you like. And I think beginning this month, if I'm not mistaken, we are submitting our soft copies also, all those, the one that we put on the internet, So all these are preserved for future generations. All right, so what does it mean to take refuge? Why are there three refuges? It's very simple, because if we look at the history of Buddhism, who is the first to appear? The Buddha, right? And then the Buddha, why is he called Buddha? He discovered the Dharma. What is the Dharma? The Dharma is true reality, what is really happening around us, not something invented by anyone, not another God up there telling the Buddha what to do. The Buddha is a very wise man who looks around and notices, all these conditions, begin to see how they cause suffering, how to get out of the suffering, and then he teaches us what to do. That teaching is called the Dharma. So that's the second refuge. And you have teacher, you have teaching, of course you have pupils. You have the people who follow the Buddha and become just like the Buddha. It's very important to remember. Just like the Buddha. It's just like prisoners, when prisoners are freed from the prison, everyone is free. They're all free in the same way. We cannot say A is more free than B. They're all free, right? So the enlightenment of the Arahats only, not Srimana, but Arahats, and the Buddha are the same awakening. The only difference is the Buddha comes first into this world, like a father. Father is human being, children also human being, right? So the Buddha comes first into this world. And the Arahats are called Anu-Buddha. Buddha, Anu-Buddha. Anu means after. So you combine this, you get a very nice word, Buddha nu Buddha. That means a Buddha and his disciples. So this Pali is very beautiful. It's like German, you combine all those words like Lego pieces and you get this long compound. Buddha nu Buddha. Okay? The Buddha and those who come after the Buddha. Here refers to the Arahats. So we cannot say, well, Buddha is not fully awakened, it's going to become Bodhisattva. This is wrong teaching, wrong views. Wrong views impact karma. And then the Arahats, some people will tell you wrong things. They say, Arahat not really awakened, Not true, it's very wrong. Because nowhere in the sutta you find this kind of wrong teaching. Right? So sutta say, in the Sambuddha Sutta, the awakening of the Buddha, awakening of the Arahats are the same. So there you have three refuges. Why do we call them refuge? Sarana. Refuge. Here, refuge is not so much protection. Yeah, you can say if it's raining, you run for refuge, Especially if you're a motorbiker, you can see a sign on the highway, it's an umbrella sign. So and then got raindrops, The raindrop from the top, but below under umbrella, no rain. That means you're safe from the rain. So rain refers to defilements, if you like. Umbrella is like the Dharma or three jewels. And you just want to be safe, okay? We all are safe. We are happy because we practice the three jewels. We practice the Dharma. You see, you can't practice the three jewels, you practice the Dharma, you see. So there you have a good idea already. This is called the one true refuge, the Dharma, because you practice the Dharma. The Buddha is our ideal. Okay? The Sangha, Arya Sangha, Noble Sangha, they are our exemplars. It shows that any human being who follows the Buddha's teaching with the right conditions, they all can awaken like the Buddha, right? So they are called three refuges in that sense. The Buddha is our one and only true teacher. Yeah, we do call other people teacher, Like here, when I teach you, I'm a teacher, right? So it's what I do, right? So in the case of the Buddha, he is not only a teacher, but he also discovers the way and he teaches us the way, right? In fact, the Buddha was so happy with this awakening when the first time when he awakens, then in other words became Buddha, he was meditating and said, this is so wonderful, who shall I bow down to? Because he feels that, he's quite young at that time, like 28, 35, okay? So he says, I must find a teacher. I should bow down to this teacher. But he used his mind, his survey the whole world. There's no one else better than the Buddha. But he still feels, I must bow to someone, if not something, maybe the Dharma. It's the Dharma that makes the Buddha. So he says, the Dharma is above me. In a sense, the Dharma also is the Buddha's refuge, so to speak. This is in the Gaurava Sutta, the discourse on respect. The Buddha respects the Dhamma. Respect means what? Respect means you accept something as it really is. This single action the Buddha did by declaring that the Dhamma is above himself is the magic solution that you and I are sitting here today studying the Sutta. Because the Buddha didn't say, I come first. I am the way. He didn't say that. No I. It's the Dhamma. Why? Because even Buddhas have to die. The body passes away. They are human beings. And Buddha's passing away is very important to us. The Buddha passes away to prove that his teaching is true, to authenticate his teaching. He says everything is impermanent. He also is impermanent, so he passes away. But it's no problem, no big deal, because the teaching is there. We don't have to worry about the Buddha passing away. Even though the Buddha has passed away, you practice the Dhamma, you will see the Buddha. He who sees the Dhamma sees me, says the Buddha. He who sees me sees the Dhamma. Because when you talk about the Buddha, he is not a person like you and I anymore. He doesn't have all the defilements, no human desires. Of course, he feels hungry, he goes to the toilet, yes, true, but he doesn't have all those unhappy states. He's always happy, so to speak, even when he's in pain. You remember when sometimes you can be very happy, but you may be sick, but you say, oh, I know I'm sick, but I'm not troubled by it, because you're so happy. All right? So if you can make those patients happy in the hospital, there's a great thing you are doing for them. Make them happy, less pain, only body pain, no mental pain, and they recover very quickly also. So we take refuge in the Dhamma just as the Buddha has done. And then the Sangha. Now the Sangha here is not the normal Sangha you see around. That's called a conventional Sangha. Conventional means they became monks and nuns through a ritual, through a ceremony. And they wear very nice robes. And they live in bigger houses than we do, called temples, right? And so on, okay? So, those are conventional monks and nuns. Many of them, most of them are not enlightened, not awakened, right? Here, when we take refuge in what's called the Arya Sangha, Noble Sangha. Who are members of the Noble Sangha? They are those who have followed the Buddha's teaching and they have reached the path, the Eightfold Path. To reach the path means you become at least stream winner, or once returner, or non-returner, or Arahat. These are 4 stages, meaning how strong we are in clearing away the defilements. But we will never fall back. All right? So these people who step on the path, Eightfold Path, it can be monks, can be nuns, can be laymen, can be laywomen. Okay, not just monks and nuns only, even lay people. Of course, the Arahats are mostly monks because they are always there to listen to the Buddha's teaching. But we have famous layman teachers like Chitta the householder. He was a successful businessman. He became a stream winner and then became a once returner. I can't remember whether he became a non-returner or not, but he definitely was a once returner. He's the wisest of the laymen. Even the monks also come to him and listen to him teaching Dhamma, ask him questions. So there are a few other laymen also who are saints and who are also good teachers. Right? So laymen also become members of the noble Sangha. Thousands of them, not just a few, right? Because they all follow the Buddha's teaching. There are even non-returners who are lay people, a number of them, at least, right? So, here, look at section 1. To whom do we go for refuge? Now, there is a sutta called Madhura Sutta, M84. Yeah? So here, this is a story about this king called Avantiputta. He's a king of a kingdom called Madura. Those days, the kingdoms are very small, not very big. Yeah? It's more like a big kampong, if you like. Okay. So Madura means honey, by the way. Right? So he listens to a monk called Mahakachana, and he's very happy. He says, "Wow, this wonderful teaching." So he says, look at the next page, the second paragraph. I go to the Master Kachana for refuge, to the Dhamma, and to the community of monks. May Master Kachana remember me as a layman who has gone for refuge from this day forth for life. Notice the first sentence. I go to Master Kachana for refuge. He said, I go to you, this monk, But what did Mahakachana say? Next line. Do not go to me for refuge. Okay, or do not come to me for refuge. Maharaja. This is the king, this is Maharaja. Go for refuge to that same blessed one to whom I have gone for refuge. Now this sentence is very important. Number one, we don't go to any monk for refuge. This Mahakachana is an arahat, You don't go even to an arahat for refuge. And even this arahat, Mahakachana says, I go to the Buddha for refuge. Even the arahat goes to the Buddha for refuge. So he tells the king, don't come to me for refuge. No, you should go to the Buddha. All right? This idea is that the Buddha is our first and only teacher. And from the Buddha comes all this teaching we have today. All right? It's like a country has only one king. A ship has only one captain. Our universe got only one sun. Okay? So the idea is one is enough. Once you discover the wheel, it's good enough. You don't have to rediscover or reinvent it. That's the meaning. So also out of gratitude to our teacher as the Buddha. It's just like all of us here, each of us have only one father. Simple as that. Each of us have only one father who gave us human birth. And this is what Mahapajapati Gautami said during the last part of her life when she was passing away in a very beautiful poem. She says, the Buddha, the Blessed One, is my father. In the sense that I took care of him as a mother, but he's my father. It's a very interesting contrast of language. He is my father in the Dhamma sense. I gave him life, I supported him as a baby, but he gave me Dhamma life as a father. So you can see a contrast there. How Mahapajapati is so happy and he's saying that the Buddha is her refuge. Okay? He's telling the nuns not to cry, not to feel sad because she's going to pass away. She said, that's the nature of things. Right? So, here Mahakachana tells the king, go to the Buddha for refuge, not anyone else. And then the kings were happy. The king says, okay, I go to that blessed one for refuge, to the Dhamma, and to the community of monks. May Master Kachana remember me as a layman who has gone forth for refuge from this day forth for life. Okay? All right. The next thing you should watch here is Mahakachana, the king says, remember me as a layman. So in other words, Mahakachana acts as a witness. So nowadays we go to the monks, right? go for refuge. Because we want the monk or nun to be our witness that we have gone for. That's all. But we do not go for refuge to the monk or nuns. I think there is a wrong idea here in some quarters. People think that they go to this monk or nun and, oh, this is my teacher, I go refuge to this person, And so there's this idea of loyalty to this particular temple, particular teacher. It's not like that. It doesn't work like that. You go to the one Buddha through these monks and nuns. They are our witnesses. Later on, you will see that actually you can even go for refuge with a lay person, your friend, as a witness. Suppose you don't meet any monks. You are so happy you want to declare yourself a Buddhist. It's okay. You can still say, okay, I want you all to be my witness that I am going for refuge. So you don't need monks or nuns to be refuge. Any living person, especially a Buddhist, can be that witness. All right, but I will come to that in a moment. All right. Then there is another case, similar story, 1.2. Gotamukha Sutta M94. Okay, this time there is this Brahmin, Gotamukha. Now he works for the king, King Udena, right? And he's rich. Okay, so he's very happy. Listen to the Dharma. He's very happy. So he tells the monk here. Oh, sorry. The monk's name is Udena, right? So he tells the monk Udena that, I'm working for the king, and he's very happy that he has heard the Dhamma. So he tells again. He says, I go to you, Master Udena, for refuge. And then again here you have this Arahat say, please don't go to me for refuge. Go to the Buddha. And then he says, oh, okay, very good. May I donate some money to you? All right. Then, okay, you look at further down, 33, near the bottom. Now, Master Udena, the king of Anga, gives me a regular donation. Let me give Master Udena one regular donation from that. Let me support you. What kind of regular donation does the king of Anga give you, Brahmin? Asked the monk. 500 gold coins. Kapana. Kapana is a gold coin. Master Udena. Then what does the monk say? It is not allowable for us to accept gold and silver, Brahmin. Okay, there's this debate, Some the more liberal monks say, monks are not allowed to touch money, but gold, that refers to gold and silver. No, money is today. Money is not real gold, not silver. I think that argument is not very good. Monks are not supposed to touch gold, but it's okay to touch money. It's not like that, okay? Because you can see here, gold and silver are used as money. All right. So King Udena, the monk, says it's not allowable for us. So he says, I can't accept this gift. Then the Gotamukha asks, how then, is there a way I can support you? Then the monk says, Brahmin, if you desire to build a monastery for me, then have an assembly hall built for the Sangha at Pataliputta. So this is where the monk says, okay, you don't have to give me the money. You use the money and build lodging for me. Right? So this way, in other words, a monk can accept the four necessities from a proper person, proper gift, proper time. Food, alms food, robes, shelter, lodging, and medical care, medical care. Right? The Buddha does allow some little extra thing a bit, because, for example, in the case of food, there is something called extra giving, some honey, things like that, which can be kept. So this thing, not everything can be kept, right? In fact, the monks, one of the things the monks not allowed is to store things. a monk should not store things, because it's very difficult for a monk to travel if you store things. And then also you attract ants, and then you attract bugs, you attract vermin, rats, and they will be killed. So it's very difficult for the monks. Another reason why the Buddha does not allow monks to have money also, I think, why? Money has stored value. So there is idea of storing also there. Because anyone who controls money also controls sensual pleasure. The Buddha says if you accept money, then you also accept sensual pleasure. Nothing can stop you after that. So he warns the monks, The Buddha is not saying money is bad. He says, well, if you cannot keep the rules of a monk, be a layman. Make all the money you want, and then live happily. Help the poor. Build schools. Do good, It's possible. So you have two choices. You want to make money? Be a layman. You want to be a good monk? Don't touch money. You cannot combine the two. Once you combine the two, you are neither this nor that. Then that's the end. And you won't have a happy afterlife also. The new life will not be a good one. You notice how many nice animals there are in temples? Cats and dogs and so on. And many of them are enjoying this good life in the temple because they were living in temples before. So be very careful. This is not a playful thing, We got to respect what the vows that we make. Otherwise, we will suffer. So it's better not to make the vows. You can still be a layman, work hard, teach Dhamma, live happily, like King Bimbisara was a stream winner. Okay, so there are different ways. But if you become a monk, it's the highway, very fast. You keep the rules, you practice, you will move very fast nearer to Nirvana. Right, so this is the next one, 1.3. Karana Pali Sutta. It's a beautiful sutta as Anguttara 5.194. No? So here you have two people, two friends. So the Brahmin Karana Pali, noticing the deep devotion of the Brahmin Pingayani. So this Pingayani, he went to see the Buddha, very happy, And then he meets his friend Karana Pali. And then he tells Karana Pali about the Buddha. Here we have this other person, Pingayani, who looks very bright, very happy, So, like Asaji, I call this the Asaji effect. he's very happy, so his friend also is very happy. And when Pingayani talks about the Buddha, Karana Pali also has faith. He's so happy. He said, wow, I also take refuge. Right? So look at this story here. On the middle of page 3. When this was said, the Brahmin Karana Pali rose from his seat, arranged his upper robe onto one shoulder. That means on the left side usually. Placing his right knee on the ground. This is how the layman kneel, one side. So right knee on the ground. Saluted the Blessed One with lotus palms. This is very interesting, Saluted the Blessed One. What does it mean? He will look for the direction. Where is the Buddha? So he will bow in that direction. Okay, so this is kind of quite a universal religious practice, right? Then he puts palms together, saluted the Blessed One with the lotus palms, uttering this udana, inspired utterance. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Now this is called udana. That means a joyful statement, udana. So when you chant Namo tassa, you're supposed to chant it with joy. Excellent Master Pingayani, excellent Master Pingayani. Just as if one were to place upright what had been overturned, or were to reveal what was hidden, or were to show the way to one who was lost, or were to hold up a lamp in the dark so that those with eyes could see forms. Right? So these are words used for monks, But this Brahmin used it for his friend, who was a layman. He said, you have shown me the Dhamma. So now I put the Pali words on the left and the translation on the right, so that you can see it's from the suttas further down. In the same way, in numerous ways, the Dharma has been declared by Master Pingyani. It's a layman, okay? Master Pingyani, I go to Master Gotama for refuge, to the Dharma and to the community of monks. Notice that? So he declares to this, his friend who's a layman, says, I go for refuge to the Buddha. May Master Pingyani remember me as a layman who has gone for refuge from this day forth for life. Right? So you see, two laymen and no monks involved, they can still take refuge. All right? So this is not ritualistic like today. Okay, so remember this, Buddhism is very simple. You can take home and practice. You can even right now take refuge. Okay. Now, so you have the refuge going and you have the witness. All right. And then the next section is on the noble Sangha. Because look at the last line. It's very, very interesting, very strange that every time in the suttas, it is said they go for refuge to the community of monks. It is not said to go to the Sangha or even noble Sangha. It says community of monks. There is the reason has been explained in the commentaries, but it is quite clear because if you look at all the other suttas, usually the Buddha would address the monks. Say, oh monk, and then there's a teaching, usually, but sometimes the Buddha will address some particular people too. Imagine when the Buddha is teaching, all right, usually the Buddha will sit with his back facing the west, he will face the east usually, and there'll be a pathway. You see, the people will never sit right in front of the Buddha. It's something very interesting, very Indian, Even if you pass Indian temples, you see the front door right to the shrine, there is no one there, so they leave the open space. So the Buddha also like that. I think that why they do that is because anyone, when they come, they can go straight to the Buddha. All right? So maybe on the right in front of the Buddha will be the monks, and on the left will be the nuns, and then behind the monks is the laymen and laywomen, and sometimes they're all around him. Okay? So the fourfold community, we don't say Sangha here, we say community. Some are unawakened, very general term. The fourfold community of monks, nuns, laymen, laywomen are present, usually present when the Buddha teaches. But more often the monks are present. Okay? And the monks are the ones who listen and record the Buddha's teaching. They are the pay the most attention. So the Buddha will say monks, right? The Buddha is not in the habit of saying monks, nuns, laymen, laywomen, Brahmins. Wow, long list, like some speech, just say monks. In other words, the word monks represent everyone present. Even in the Satipatthana Sutta, when the Buddha says, oh monks, do this, do that, watch your breath, do your meditation on the body and so on, he's addressing the meditators. In the commentary to the sutta, Buddha Ghosha says, when a monk here refers to the state of being a monk, bhikkhu bhava. Remember just now I told you when you meditate, you actually go through internal renunciation. You learn to let go. For the moment, you let go of the world. For this moment, these few minutes, half an hour maybe, you let go of the world for a while. Temporary monk, half an hour. Yeah? So when you listen to the Dharma also, you must listen like a monk. Your mind got to renounce the world, focus. So that's why the Buddha used the word monks. Because the monks are the closest to nirvana in terms of practice. So when you meditate, you renounce the world temporarily. So you reach the state of a monk when you meditate. So this is the meaning of meditation as an act of renunciation. This is called the spirituality of the Dharma. This is a wonderful thing that I've learned from studying the suttas. I've never heard any other teacher teach these things. So when I read it, I said, "Oh, this is wonderful." So remember this: the beauty and the naturalness the here and now of the Dhamma. Right here, you can practice. No need to go to temple. The temples don't talk like this because they want you to go there. Otherwise, who's going to support the temple? No, we will still go there. It's just that the Dhamma can be practiced anywhere. Okay? So there you are. The meaning of Bhikkhu Sangha. No? You can see 1.4, 0.1, 0.4 there. And when the real refuge we take in the Sangha, of course, is the noble Sangha. If you remember your recitation, second part of your puja, recollections on the three jewels. All right? First is to the Buddha, second to the Dhamma, third to the Sangha. Okay? And this is the one. Look at the verse on the Sangha, middle of page 5. We recited, look at the Pali on the right hand side. Yadidang chattari purisa yugani. Okay? There are these 4 pairs of persons. Chattari means 4. Purisa, person, yugani, pairs. 4 pairs of person. The 8 individuals, atta. Atta is 8. Very easy to remember. 8, same, almost same sound. Atta means 8. Purisa, pugala, individuals. This community of disciples of the Blessed One, Eso Bhagavato Savaka Sangho, Ahunayo, Pahunayo, Dakineyo, Anjali Karaniyo, Anutarang Punyaketang Lokasa. T means finish, close. Worthy of offerings, worthy of hospitality, worthy of gifts, worthy of salutation with the lotus palms, a supreme field of merit for the world. But here, the Buddha says 4 pairs of persons, 8 individuals. 4 refers to the stream winner, once-returner, non-returner, arahat. 4 kinds of saints. Those are on the path, on the way, sure of awakening. 4 pairs, total 8. What are they? This one simply means those who are stream winners and those who are training to be stream winners. Same thing with one-returners, those who are training to be one-returners, and so on. Right? It's just like graduate, undergraduate. Okay, so you have 8 kinds of saints in that sense. So they are the ones we take refuge in. So here the Buddha did not create a kind of order of priests. Not like the Sangha is not priesthood. The Sangha is a community of a kind of arrangement so that those who really want the express way to awakening, they will join that club, so to speak. All right? So they are not a special class in that sense. As a group, they are special because of their desire to attain awakening in this life. That's the real meaning of the Sangha. Okay? And that's why we put our palms to them, to remind them of that vow. But now it's forgotten already. Now it's become status. You put your palms to someone important, and this important guy just smiles, doesn't put his palms together, which is wrong. When you put your palms, you're saying, I bow to the fact that you can awaken one day. And the other person replies that you too. And this is a beautiful Buddhist way of doing that. In Thailand, in Myanmar, in Sri Lanka, in India also, everyone does that. It's a common gesture. It's not to separate high level, low level, atas and bhawa. No? It's acknowledging the goodness in each other. That's the lotus palm, like a lotus. Yeah. So that is why we respect people in that way. Okay, to remind them of their goodness, that they can become awakened also. All right. So now, the one true refuge. Now we have 3 jewels. It is the Dhamma that makes Buddha. It is the Dhamma that awakens the disciples. So the Dhamma is the one true refuge. Okay? So that's why you just need one Buddha only. Okay? And you need, when you meditate, you need one mind. You must have, your mind must be one, so to speak. All right? So that's why sometimes the word the one is used, eka. Okay? What is the one? You can say one means mental focus. The mind is at peace. That's one. Okay? So one is a deep meaning in Buddhism. So we have one refuge, that's the Dharma. The one door to awakening. One path, the Eightfold Path. One path, but 8 lanes, so to speak. The lanes all run together, parallel. Or if you like, it's like a coaxial wire or some kind of computer wire cable. You got 8 strands, 8 wires inside, something like that. All right? And all these 8 are interconnected. And why is the noble Sangha called noble? The Buddha uses the word Arya because it's a common word in India at that time. People have the wrong idea that the Aryas are the white-skinned, the rulers, the very powerful, very rich, the Brahmins. The Buddha said, no, to be Arya is not by birth. Whether you are born into a Brahmin family or whatever lower family, if you do bad, the bad fruits will still come to you. You do good, the good benefits will come to you. So karma is equal to all, no matter what kind of family you're born into. It is not birth that makes you pure or impure, it's your actions. So if your actions are truly pure, you keep the precepts, and you practice meditation, then you attain first stage, Trimana. You're called noble. Why? Because you have reached the noble path. Why is the path called noble? Because you will never kill, you never steal, you never break the precepts, so you are noble. You are noble because you are truly good, you keep away from evil. That's why you are noble. So it is not by birth. Anyone can be noble. So this is a very liberating kind of teaching. See? You can say the Buddha was the first kind of person to talk like this, of human liberation and so on. So the word noble, everyone can be noble. And that's what we are doing here. You come here to study the Dhamma, to be noble. At least in the normal sense of the word. We may not be enlightened yet, we are not even streamliners yet, but we can still be noble in a good sense. Otherwise, if you are a Buddhist, someone comes along and tells you something, say, oh, this teacher is very good, you can float into the air, and you just rush there and you worship him because he could float into the air. Now, the funny part is this, they actually play tricks with people. I've seen a number of times on the internet in India, and now they have exported it to even the West. So far, Singapore, I have not seen it yet. Sooner or later, you'll see it in Orchard Road, I think. You have this sadhu, they call him a holy man. He will wear some kind of orange cloth, and then he will sit, he will hold on to like a pole, His hand is always there. And there's nothing underneath him. He just holds on to the pole and is floating in the air. So you can put your hand underneath there. There's nothing. No trickery. But there's one thing those people do not know. They should bring a saw. Or, what do you call that? A cutter. There's acetylene, this hot flame can cut through metal. You cut through the pole that this man is putting his hand on. You see, because he puts his hand very straight, there is a piece of metal that runs from the pole underneath, hidden inside the rope. The rope is so big it can hide things. So there is a little seat there. He's sitting on the seat, and then it runs, there is a handle runs into the pillar. He holds it, all right? So the secret is, it is hidden in his arm. So if you cut the pole, he will drop. So people think, wow, this guy is very holy. He can float in the air. He was not floating at all. Okay, suppose I can really float into the air. All right? And then you go around and say, wow, Piya can float in the air. And this house will not have enough space for people who come here for study. They don't come here for Dharma. They come here because of my entertainment ability. I can float. All right? But they don't know why I can float. I can float for many reasons, but not because of Buddhism, right? Maybe one day science will show you how you can do this. The point is, even a bad person can practice some kind of meditation maybe and float, but he cannot do good things. He will not be able to teach you good things. So even if you see these kind of miracles, it doesn't mean the person is good. They're two separate things. You know, in the Philippines, they're so religious, you know, because of hundreds of years of being conquered by people who follow a certain religion. So they look at the sky, they see shapes, they say, oh, that is their holy figure, you know. So I say, if you're a Buddhist, you say it's Kuan Yin, you know. So it depends what religion you follow. It's just a shape, you know. I mean, if you go to Orchard Road, you see one of those shiny glass walls. Sometimes they see images. There's one, somebody says it's like Kuan Yin. And the Catholics say Virgin Mary. In a sense, both are right. But the reality is it's just a figure. In the Sarawak, if you go, which cave is it? I think it's Mulu Caves, not mistaken. You go right inside, and then when you are coming out, there are two images you can see, very interesting. Near the outside, there's a rock formation. They say, oh, that is Abraham Lincoln, because the rock looks like him, because they have seen Abraham Lincoln with a top hat, so it says Abraham Lincoln. But you go further in, you can see another rock formation, which is very strange. But because these people are Buddhists, or they have been influenced by Buddhists, they say it's Kuan Yin. It looks like Kuan Yin, you see. So it's all how we perceive things, very important, right? Okay, so anyway, that's a little digression from the word noble. Okay, we take a short break now. It's 9 o'clock, and then we'll come back to finish off. Okay? Now, to close our study, we'll look at self as refuge. All right? Now, we just earlier on, we talked about one true refuge is the Dhamma. What does it mean to take self as refuge? There is a story about this acrobat and the master and pupil. They climb up the pole and do all kinds of acts. They earn a living by entertaining people in the market, doing all these tricks. So one day the teacher told the student, "Hey, you take care of me, I take care of you, so that we don't get hurt, we don't fall." But the pupil is very clever. Okay, the pupil told the teacher, I think it's better you take care of yourself, I take care of myself. Then we won't get hurt that way, all right? So that is one meaning of self-effort. Yes. So also, if you remember the last days of the Buddha, one of the most important things the Buddha told us before he passed away is he says, be an island unto yourself, right? Look at page 8, 1.4.3.1. So it tells Ananda, therefore Ananda, dwell with yourself as an island, with yourself as refuge, with no other refuge. Dwell with the Dharma as an island, with the Dharma as refuge, with no other refuge. Okay? So you see that there are two lines here, and there are two important words here. First is self, and the other word is Dharma. Dharma and self are used same meaning like that. Okay? So be an island unto yourself, as yourself as refuge. Take the Dharma as refuge. So in that sense, if you take yourself as refuge, you are taking the Dharma as refuge. Okay, so the Buddha is not saying you are the Dharma. He's saying if you take refuge in yourself, it's like taking refuge in the Dharma. What's the meaning of this? This is what we're going to do in this last part of our study today. Now, sometimes people who don't know Buddhism, they talk bad about the Buddhism. They say, oh, you Buddhists are so inward looking, so selfish. You talk about island to yourself. In the West, they have a song that says, no man is an island, and so on. Of course, they're talking about having partners and getting married. That's something different. Here, what the Buddha is saying is, if you don't help yourself, no one can help you. That's the first simple meaning. But there's a deeper meaning here. There is another context where the Buddha says the same thing. Be an island unto yourself. Be an island unto yourself means meditate. Because when you meditate, you have to meditate alone. I remember those old days when we have run courses for the public meditation courses. I'm always happy to see families come. They sign up as a family. Sometimes they come as husband and wife. It's very good. Husband and wife meditate, wonderful. They come holding hands, loving each other. They sit down and meditate, they also want to hold hands. So you have to tell them, sorry, meditation, you got to put your hands together like that. You can't hold hands because you'll distract each other. A bit of movement and say, oh, the other one will also be distracted. So even in married life, you have to be sometimes separate. There is this famous poet, Khalil Gibran. He wrote a poem on marriage. I can't remember the exact words, but he says, when you're married, be like these two trees, and they're so close together, and then their leaves intertwine, and then you get nice shade. But it is still two trees. The trees must stand separately. In other words, when two persons get married, they are still individuals. It's not that they become like processing, they get mixed up. It's not like that. You're still different, and you learn from each other, right? So to love someone is to learn from this person, learn about this person, learn about yourself, and so on. So to take self as refuge means to meditate. So when you meditate, you sit quietly, you close your eyes, you see the Buddha always alone meditating, and it's a very beautiful image. Whenever you feel lonely, whenever you feel your friends give up on you, you find people don't care about you, remember this beautiful image of the Buddha sitting under the Bodhi tree. At night it's very dark, but the Buddha is radiant and bright, and this tree is there protecting the Buddha. The Buddha is alone, never afraid, very peaceful, at peace with himself. So if you have meditation, you are at peace with yourself, you will not be afraid of this loneliness. And if you are that kind of person, you are joyful and people like to come to you also, so you won't be lonely. One of the reasons why sometimes old people are left alone because they're grouchy, they complain, and so they even beat up their children, I have one elderly man who is very kind to me, as one of the supporters, and he told me that he's the only son, probably the youngest son, I think, who visits the father. All his other brothers won't visit his father. I said, why? He said, oh, he's a tough old man. He's 90 years old, but he's still tough. And so you get angry, he will scold you, he will kick you, he will punch you, very strong. So nobody wants to see him. I say, well, he has to see him. I said, well, you're a wonderful man. I said, all right. So I said, well, it's a very strange way of saying, showing love. I said, so keep some distance. Then. So we should not be grouchy. Sometimes old people, why are they grouchy? They have fear. They're afraid. They don't know what to do. They're frightened. So when we are frightened, we show anger and we don't know what to say, so we act it out in a wrong way. And then these other young people get even more afraid of us. Now, that's not the right way to do. The older we grow, the more we need to smile, the more we need to talk to people. Even talk to yourself is okay, rather than hurting people, right? Sometimes, we have even in Jurong East, these poor old people, you got all these chairs downstairs on the void deck, they will sit there, waiting for people to pass by and just say hello to them, Now I see three of them sitting together near the what they call that stall, this. what's it, shopping area called?
Fair price.
Fair price, So there's 3 of those sitting there. So at least they're friends. So if you have that kind of attitude of, you learn to serve as refuge, you meditate, you're friendly, you do metta, you attract people. Children would like to come to you. Like one of the things we miss most in Singapore, I think, old people, you have no children to hug. You have no grandchildren to play with. So the extended family, you have this. Every time we are busy with something. So the parents are busy working, grandparents are with the children, and never feel lonely. Now this is the cause of so-called progress. Right? So we got to think of other ways. Make friends with neighbors, talk to other people. And sometimes you talk to even young people, they will talk to you. So although here the meaning of being refuge to yourself means you build up this wonderful joy inside you through your meditation, loving kindness. And you build peace inside you. So even if there's nobody around, there is a deeper meaning to serve as refuge. No? All right? The Buddha says, take yourself as refuge. Don't take any other refuge. Right? Because when you meditate, you have to focus on yourself. And when you meditate, you are like an island. Island means what? Water all around. What does water represent? Defilements, distractions, bad things, right? So when you're meditating, you are safe, right? When the ship is sunk, sailors all swim for islands. Islands is a safe place, safe refuge. But remember, what are really islands? You have many islands. No? Islands are simply tops of hills and mountains separated by water. So if you meditate and you practice Dhamma, you drain away the floods. Okay? Sometimes the bad things are called floods. So you clear away all the floods. Without the floods, without the water, the islands become mountains. Right? So when the Buddha says be an island unto yourself, we can also see actually it's a mountain, right? Separated by water. Water is ignorance, craving. So when you meditate, slowly they go away. All right? So that's another meaning. You become strong like a mountain. All right? Take Dhamma as refuge. Don't take any other refuge. Because the Dhamma is the proper way for you to be happy. Any other kind of way will be costly. They're wrong ways. They won't make you truly happy. They might promise happiness, but the reality is different. So in that sense, we are our own refuge. Because if we don't help ourselves, nobody is going to help us. So I think I will stop there for today. Then the second half we finish next lesson. All right? So any questions? Today's lesson is quite easy. It reminds us what to do as Buddhists, how to follow the Buddha's teaching, not to be ritualistic. To be Buddhist is to be very practical. You can practice Buddhism anywhere. Okay? And you learn to be happy inside you. You don't need outside things to be happy with you, to be happy. Right? And you have choices as a Buddhist. If you want to live a strict life, you want a super speed awakening, you become a monk or a nun, become a good monk or a good nun. Otherwise, you can live as a layman. If you are wealthy, you can even do good Buddhist work, provided you study the suttas and so on. Okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
We are talking about the noble sangha. The noble sangha to
Yeah.
take refuge in.
Yes.
How can a lay person going for refuge? Are you a noble? That is a question
Yeah.
I'm asking myself. How do I know? How do you explain?
Okay.
this?
Yeah. Remember, when you talk about refuge, they are mental states, We can't meet the Buddha, but we have this vision. Okay, the Buddha is like this, and we read stories about him. The possibility of someone, the most evolved of human beings during this period. Human beings are capable of becoming super intelligent, super good, something like that. That's the Buddha. All right? And the Dharma also you can't see, the Dharma, but you can practice it and you can feel it. You feel joy and peace. The Noble Sangha also represents that goodness, if you like, right? So of course we do not know who are the Noble Sangha around us. I think it's better not to, because if we know, wow, we might start worshipping this person and then, create a cult, then you have problems again. And all these people won't go around telling, hey, I'm a streamer, hey, I'm a one-sutana, Buddha's time, maybe they might say that, but not today.
I think if they tell you, I will get scared also.
Yeah, people will say, oh, are you sure? The psychologists will say, oh, this is a good case to study, and so on. And in a sense, it's true, You go to the internet, you find people actually declare, they put their name, comma, stream winner. Then they say, oh, that's not big enough, comma, arahat, Wow. But now people are clever enough to know how they don't care about such things. They know this is wrong. Okay? So don't think of them as people. Think of them as ideas of goodness, for example, you have a happy family. You have your children have grown up. They're not here, but they're not come here for a few hours, unless they need something from you. Yeah, you spend hours with them, but you have this memory of them, very happy memory. You think of them, you feel happy. Just think of the happy picture of them in your mind. You can't have them here anymore because they're grown up. They have their own lives. Okay, but you have that memory. So to me, my memory of my children is good enough. Quite happy with that, something like that. Of course, I'm even more happy to see them before me. I do get worried if I feel they get sick or something like that. But we cannot, we don't own them. Right? The Buddha said, you don't own them. You don't own the world. So you got to just let go. And then you find they are there. They're still there for you. They're still there with you. It's something you cannot forget. Even when someone say, chucha, renounce the family, you don't give up the family. Father is still father, mother is still mother, brother, sister, all still the same. You don't say no more father, mother, still same family. It's just the relationship changes. You leave the biological family, you leave the Confucianist family, right? You leave that family behind. Now the whole world become your family. Anyone can come to you. Now, the meaning of the saying, what the monk, what's his name? Pindola told King Udena. He says that the Buddha teaches us, if we meet an elderly woman, we treat her as our mother. You meet a woman about same age, we treat as sister. We meet a younger girl, we treat as daughter. Now this is a beautiful teaching on how, called social distance, show respect. Different from Confucianism. Confucianism says what? If you are a girl, you obey your parents. If you are a daughter, you're married, you obey your husband. And when you grow old, if you are a woman, you obey your children. You say, wow. It's all control, social control. But Buddhism talks about liberation, freedom. Okay? So, there you are. Just think about all these wonderful ways of being happy. Alright? Okay, anything else? No more, Okay, so we close for today with short reflection. Today we have begun with a new book of suttas to study, and you can see underneath all the suttas, if you look deep into it, there's always something happy, something about self-reliance, that we can find this happiness inside us. No need to look outside. Happiness outside is not the real happiness. It will disappear. It's not the true one, but the true happiness is inside you. If you can cultivate this true happiness, true peace inside you, and wisdom also will arise, then you are truly what is called a true individual, which we'll talk about next week. Reflecting in this way is very good karma. Better part of this karma, May we be well, may we be happy to practice the Dhamma. Above all, may we be blessed with the courage and wisdom to aspire to stream winning in this life itself, so that we will have many happy lives in the future, not being born in suffering states, but bringing ourselves closer to the Buddha's path. And may those who are practicing the Dhamma too be well and happy, and our family and children and our loved ones to be well and happy. And by the power of the three jewels too, may those who have lost their way and those who are confused about the Buddha Dhamma, may they too see the true teaching in this life itself. May all beings be well and happy. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.